The movie is not for everyone, obviously. Even for kids, it's not the greatest thing. This time of year, maybe you'll take them in, get them ready, whatever it is. Again, it's air conditioned. That's a big plus. Now, understand that underneath, almost everywhere in this area, you're going to find the same neighborhood from the Second Temple period. Some were preserved better, some were preserved worse. Some have a water cistern from the Crusader period that just digs right through. Okay? Now, behind me, okay, underneath what's today the Shivara Kotel building, they left the bottom floor, which are the remains of an entire neighborhood. Remains of at least 5 or 6 houses from this time period. They were all destroyed in the first week of Elul, August, year 70. Got it? Now, the neighbors of the people there are over here as well. And that's why they call it the Herodian quarter. Now, we said it's destroyed when? In year 70. Why do they call it Herodian? Because the houses, including Beit Kachos, were built during the Herodian period. Even though this neighborhood had been occupied since the Hasmoneans, even before, for some reason under Herod, this entire area went on urban renewal. They rebuilt all the houses. And these weren't just normal houses. They weren't houses of common people. They were beautifully designed with the latest Roman styles that had just been made stylish in Rome a few years behind. Okay? We find a multiple ritual baths in every single house. How many ritual baths do you think people would have in a private house?
One.
If you're lucky, one. But we're talking about here 3 or 4 in one house.
Palaces.
We find very, very wealthy things, not both the decorations, jars, pottery. What does this show us? These are the upper class. Upper class, ritual baths near the temple. We assume these were the priests. The largest house they assume was the high priest. Beit Kachos is one of their neighbors. Got it? You're starting to... Okay? Yeah. And it all starts around the Herodian period. And as I said, all the different things we're going to see today will piece together to be part of the answer of my question. What was my question?
The bullet holes?
No, not the bullet holes. The bullet holes will be something else. Why did the Romans destroy the city? What were the reasons behind both the destruction of Jerusalem, the rebellion, and the destruction of the temple? Each one has a slightly different answer. Okay, so it's unfortunate that you're not able to see it. I can send you a few pictures of it. There are a few things that you really only can understand when you see them. They found a picture of a menorah. There are very few pictures of menorahs, all etched on the plaster on the wall, maybe even like a schematic drawing of the altar and the showbread table. So it definitely has other things that relate to the priests, maybe even the families of priests. Understand that there were priests that were permanently in Jerusalem, the high priestly family and some of the very, very important families. But the way the priests work, at least at the last of the Second Temple period, they did shifts. Every week, a different family had a shift. Yeah. There were 24 families that would rotate the year. Okay? And these priestly families then were remembered as these families many generations after the temple was destroyed. It was one of the ways in the synagogue they used to remember them and say, this is the week of the family of Avidah, this is the week. And this goes out through the Byzantine period. Eventually these were forgotten. Okay, the one place, by the way, the one kina, there's one lamentation we say in the 9th of Av, which remembers this. Yeah.
So, Asher, we can recognize a high priest house from the stone jars.
Not only. It's because it's so close to the temple. It's the largest house here. Now, there's one building that's even larger, and that was right over here. We didn't really excavate the whole thing because it was underneath buildings. What do we assume that is? Think.
Governmental.
Even bigger than the high priest's house. The Hasmonean palace. Remember, Herod builds a brand new palace near Jaffa Gate. But the Hasmoneans, who were priests themselves, had a palace that was right adjacent to the temple.
Is that the one with the cone shape?
That's, yeah, we don't know what it
the
looked
one
like,
in the model?
but that's the one in the model, and that would have been right here. Okay, now they're building right now two
Right
things
here,
of
as in
interest.
where?
One's
Underneath the car, right?
underneath this whole area.
Okay.
Okay, we don't know exactly because most of it was not exposed down to that level. They're rebuilding now two things. One is the Tiferet Yisrael synagogue, which was the partner to the Horva synagogue as the main synagogue of the Ashkenazi community in the 19th and early 20th century. Okay, the Sephardic community already had their 4 synagogues just over here. And the Ashkenazi community, the Hasidim had Tiferet Yisrael, the non-Hasidim, the anti-Hasidim had the Horva. That you'll learn about later on. Underneath, by the way, both the Horva and the Tiferet Yisrael, we found part of the Second Temple period, houses, mikvaot. I helped with that excavation. This is about year 2000. Okay, now, one more thing just to note, and then we really have to break for lunch. That we are going. I'm gonna pick up with this point when we finish. I just want to leave with it. We speak about Second Temple period, right? That's what we're learning about. Think about it. Almost everything you've seen so far that we've called Second Temple period is from Herod till the end. Think about it. Almost everything.
From the 40 BC until the
Until
4?
about 37, 40. He didn't really start building until 25, 30. Masada a little bit earlier, whatever. Which creates a little bit of a distortion. And I'm going to try to clarify that. Okay, so that's the point where we're going to pick up. And I want people to be clear with the chronology because it can be a little bit confusing. Okay, so our objective when we meet back after lunch is to learn about the main sites of the Second Temple period in the city of David, to clarify the topography and shape of the city and how it grew during the Second Temple period, okay, and to answer the questions about the destruction. That's what we're going to try to do. There are many other things to talk about, burial, this and that. If things come up, we'll talk about them. We have to speak about the synagogue. We'll talk about synagogues in general. Right now we'll break. I know we're not going to meet at